¿Qué ondas? And welcome back to Puro Pinche Magic. I'm one of your hosts, Primo Fredie. Todos los primos. We appreciate you guys coming by, checking our dose and our version and our spicy version of Magic the Gathering. Well, today we have returning finally again. I was scared I was going to lose you, because I'm like, llega una vez y desaparece. We have Bear Claymore, bearclaymore.com, twitch.tv/Bear Claymore. Fernando, welcome back. Bear, say what's up to everybody.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm really happy to be back. Gracias, Freddy. It's always nice to have this kind of like comfort zone to come and talk about Magic, porque el Magic es pinche a veces, pero se disfruta. Así que I'm really happy to be here.
Así me
I'm
gusta.
really
There
happy
you
to be
go.
here.
I love it. Branded. I need a shirt. I want to say magic is pinche, but it's magical. I need a hat. Pero Bear,
That's good.
Right. I'm gonna do that. And with that other voice you're hearing too, if you're an audio listener, we have a special guest for us today. We met online. It was like a fun two ships crossing in the night, and I saw him online, and he hits me up. He goes, "Hey man, get me on the show. I'm all about it. I'm a primo. Let's make it happen." We have Tap for me on social media. Are up to tell us what your channel's about. Tell everybody what they can expect from you today being in the magic space.
Yeah, hello. It's super excited to be here. Guys, thank you for letting me on. Tap for me, MTG on all platforms. Just a magic channel, trying to get back to the community, do plenty of giveaways, make tons of videos or whatever we can. Just try to make it accessible for everyone.
Perfect. So Tap, we're happy to have you on the show here, Puro Pinche Magic. And of course, we'll put your socials up here so everybody can follow everybody because we got to. It's like what the comunidad is about. Let's grow this community. We're out here, everybody. Ya estamos acá afuera haciéndolo, so we just got to support each other. And today we're going to be talking about, of course, because every week there's something, right? There's a rumor, there's a statement, there's something that's taken the wrong way. Hey, honestly, I took it the wrong way too. So thank you for Bear for correcting me. But we're going to talk about there is a new ban list showing up this upcoming week. By the time this is recorded, it would already been out. So this is all stuff us just kind of preemptively kind of getting ahead of it as much as we can. But there is a potential bans that are going to go in through this next week. And that brought up the conversations within the community. And maybe it's because the community forgets so fast, of what's going on last week and the week before last. But conversations about Commander and Commander having bans again, saying, hey, we want more cards banned out of Commander. Again, ustedes saben, primos, I'm all about there should be no bans. You should play whatever you want. You should deal with it and you should work around it. But there is that school of, hey, if everything's okay, then where are you getting creative? We're going to see the same decks rolling through, like in Standard, right? Standard is a big focus this time around when it comes to these bands. And Tap's a little more versed on it than I am in that, so we're going to talk about that a little bit, which will lead into more conversations. Before we jump into that, remember, guys, follow goes Puro Pinche Magic on all social media, Puro Pinche Magic. And of course, check out My Primos Productions and My Primos Podcast for all your pop culture with Cultura Geek and the Latin Lens. So definitely check it out. Ahora, let's start from there. So we have the announcements. November the 10th would have been the announcements for these bands coming up. We have no idea as of recording what these bands are, but potentially based upon conversations, based upon posts, I think I'll let our guest speak a little bit more on that because he's a little more versed on the standard side of things. That's one of the biggest focuses. I mean, I know, and most of us all know Vivi, right? Vivi's a big thing, and of course, the combo with the cauldron, right? That's the biggest kind of like flags that I know of. But Tap, what can you tell us, or what have you read or kind of researched on to help us through the conversation here?
Yeah, I was surprised when you had mentioned that the possibility of the bands coming in, but when things are the way they are, rumors start going, people start talking, and there have definitely been a lot of people begging for something to change when it comes to the standard metagame. I know you mentioned you play a lot on Arena. You've experienced what Mono Red and Boros can do to you. You're trying to have fun. You walk away crying because they just smack you around. And right now, the top slots, 50% of the meta is going with the VV Cauldron deck and Mono Red. That's 50% of the top decks. There are only 2 Tier 1 decks, and it is those 2 decks. Everything else is Tier 2. So it is a crazy time to try to play competitive standard, and like you mentioned, people are begging for bans. They're wanting Vivi out, they're wanting Cauldron out. But it opens up a lot more because once those are gone, before Demir was a problem, so people are looking at Kaido, and it just, one thing changes, everything else goes with it. It starts to stagger. So that's definitely a lot of what I've heard. But I know that there's a lot of talk happening too with the EDH and cEDH community, right? I know you were mentioning.
Yeah, so in standard, I touch on that a little bit more. Like the thing with standard is, and it used to be that standard was a great place to start playing Magic, right? Standard was this comfortable. Hey, you know what? This is the pool of cards that everybody's playing with. This is the energy right now at this time, especially back when me and Bear, back in the old days, cuando estamos los señores jugando, it was a matter of you knew what to expect, and it was comfortable walking into that format. And okay, cool, I can build this type of deck. These are the cards that are, kind of winning right now. Maybe I can look into them. And you didn't feel like so like it was cutthroat. You walked in, okay, it was an expectation that I can learn the game and move forward. Now it doesn't feel that way in standard. Standard feels, because it's such a one-on-one game. It is a one-on-one game as opposed to like Commander, which we play mostly. That it's so get to the point that it borderline feels like when you're playing those high-end cEDH games. I know it's different because there's more people, more seats, but you have that same like aggression. It used to be where someone could differentiate in standard. Hey, I'm gonna play these colors. Oh, okay, cool. There's gonna be kind of a laid-back deck, but these decks are all very aggressive. There is it heavy, and I feel like standard isn't no longer that place to start playing Magic. What do you guys think?
I do agree. I mean, for me, I don't play standard. I haven't played standard for more than 5 years, I think. I did some standard in arena for a while, because it was a new thing, and arena is like kind of like the easy way to play Magic because it's free. It's still free, even though people say otherwise. You can still play for free, and if you have time and patience, you can get your collection going. But that aside, it is true that I used to watch the championships streamings and all championships as well, and it is true that demeanor and the mindset of players playing standard competitively, in general, it's more like cEDH. However, the decks were not as aggressive. There were a lot of control. There were a lot of tempo decks, and I think today it's a lot more proactive, a lot more. Okay, I need to get this fast. But that's just my perception. Again, I'm not playing standard right now. But that's just my perception from what I hear and what I see at the table next to me.
What about Tap? What do you think about Magic in standard? Is standard still the method for new players to come in?
Man, I feel like that's complicated because I think that I mean I don't know what you guys' opinion are, but I do not think Commander is the best way to jump in and learn Magic. I think there's like the game night packs where they have five little like themed decks that you can use. I think those are great. I think Commander sample decks, or not Commander sample decks, standard sample decks are great. But jumping in all out Commander is difficult. So 60 card formats are really easy to get someone going, but it's hard whenever, just like Bear was saying, you're inviting someone to play standard and someone sits in front of you and they're going to win on that turn 3, turn 4, and just completely take it. So it makes it difficult to really get people comfortably sitting where they're not going to run through completely. So I don't think playing standard at an FNM, if there's even people playing standard at FNM, it's just not as a safe space anymore, not as comfortable, because you're either going to go against one of those many. Again, there's like 50 tier 2 decks right now. There's so many. But if there was no Eevee and Mono Red, it would be one of the most diverse metas we've seen in a long time because there's so many different decks. But if you're playing against any of those, you're gonna have fun. But if those two top tier decks are in front of you, like it's just you're gonna be sweating, you're gonna be trying. You're not. It's not a space to test anything new. It's a space to just hold yourself while you get beaten. So it's a weird space to be in.
So, is Vivi not banned in standard yet? Really?
No,
Oh
no,
my
and
gosh.
yeah, and what's
I
interesting
had no
too is
idea.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We have this extended
You would
standard
assume
space
by now
too.
you're like, if they got rid of Mardu, if they got rid of these cards on like Dockside, right? They hit hard, they hit fast, they impact the game so much. It's not banned, but
I mean,
BV hits so fast.
Naru was like, I mean, they took no time with Naru on standard. And then prior to that, the other big one was, I think, this Planeswalker, the Simic Planeswalker,
Oko,
Oko.
yep.
They went a little bit too long on that one, and they realized, oh, this was a mistake. They went, I think, at least 2 tournaments with it where Oko was dominating. And I remember they said, this was a mistake. This should not have printed like this. And we're going to rectify that. And I thought, well, with Vivi, probably they're going to realize this is going to break the meta. And I was hoping they would just take action and just nerf it or just ban it right away. But it seems like they haven't. So that's interesting.
I mean, right now, just to kind of give everybody that's listening, if you're a standard player or play standard, the current standard ban list reads Abuelo's Awakening, Corey Steelcutter, Hardfire Hero, which that fucking thing, I hate that stupid card. Hopeless Nightmare, Leyline of Resonance, only an arena best of one apparently. Interesting. Monstrous Rage, This Town Ain't Big Enough, and Up the Beanstalk. Which, when you look at it, like in that format, like I feel like Up the Beanstalk was preventing Gruul from popping off. Like if they because there's so much red that's just dominating, red and white Boros, right? But if Gruul had the same speed behind it, Up the Beanstalk just kind of rewarded you for having beefy guys and rewarded you for speeding up the game like that. And I think that's why that was in there to kind of slow down Gruul. But you gave Izzet so many tools, and it's just sitting there after you kind of gutted a little bit of, like you said, the mirror. And now we're sitting at, hey, let's mess with the format again. So I don't know, like, for not following standard, but enough of it on arena and the conversations in the community, which is why we're gonna have our main topic today. Um, you tend to think that the world's gonna end, when it comes to these things. And uh, why we bring that up is because whenever there's a ban conversation, and Bear, please jump in here in a second because I really want to have that conversation with you, and I think it's poignant because I took it as, and we have short-term memories when it comes to anything on social media. That's the truth. Especially when it comes to something that impacts this game that we love so much, right? We should be on top of it. But whenever you hear murmurs of bans, you automatically go to everything's gonna get a ban. Oh yeah, Commander's gonna get more bans. Commander's gonna get more bans. This was a game that Tap says, and of course we play the most. It's just Commander, and I play that format. I love that singleton format. And I think the fact that whenever bans come up, people want to just start gutting cards that they feel are annoying, that they don't like playing against, that they've seen too many of, or maybe that they're getting tired of the meta and the format, as far as cards that you're always going to see within the dominating decks. But Bear, you made a point to make it clear, and I appreciate that because I did, fact check it. Yeah, there's been rumors, but nothing has been officially said is going to target Commander. Why is that?
Yeah, well, first of all, on the Commander banning announcement from April, I think that's the date.
Yeah, that was April.
They were they announced some unbans for the format, but they also mentioned, and this was Gavin saying this in text in that article, saying that they were committing to not make any changes to the Commander ban list until the end of the year. So that then, when that was announced, it kind of like eased up all of our minds, saying, okay, at least for the rest of the year, we can keep playing without worrying about that. So that's why when I heard about these new bans that may be coming up for Commander, I got like, are they backtracking what they said? Are they actually changing the ban list before the end of the year? But yeah, I think we both did the same. We went ahead and backchecked and checked those facts. And yeah, I think the commitment still remains, but I think they want to start the conversation now so that whenever bans happen next year, it's not a surprise for everybody. So
Absolutely.
decimos en México, atole con el dedo.
And I did a couple on lost in the web, and it just gets to a messy.
Yeah.
So I did it for you, Primos. No tengan que meterse ahí. It's a dark. Hey, these things removed off the ban list. So I think our main conversation today would be kind of these conversations about These cards, I picked out one, two, just 3 or 4 cards that I think people have been talking about considering completely banning and some pulling off the list. Number one, Heuristic Study. Everybody's favorite blue enchantment to run. Everybody's most hated card to play against sometimes in blue. Not always, but most of the time. Just annoying, right? Heuristic Study. So the common that doesn't quit, the common that doesn't quit, Heuristic Study. Um, what are your thoughts on Heuristic Study Tap? Since you're the guest today, what do you think about the card? Do you play the card? Do you like it? What would it mean for it to get banned for you?
I don't play the card. I think it's a great card. It's a fantastic card. I don't play it. I've never had an experience where Ristic Study hits the field and at a outside of cEDH, a casual table, where people feel good about that happening. I've never explained Ristic Study to someone and have them think, "Oh, that seems like a fair card." It's really strong. And it's just, and there are few cards that can really spin out of control as quickly as Ristic Study can. I mean, once you start casting a bunch of stuff, your opponent really doesn't need to do anything to just really get ahead of you with that card advantage. So I think for me, where I tend to play, not necessarily for me. Now, do I mind seeing it at a cEDH level table? I don't. I don't mind seeing it there. I think when you're playing cEDH, you expect there to be a high power level. You expect to run a lot of interaction, and you learn to play around those staples. I can see where people are bothered by it, but as far as it being banned, I could see that going either way. I could see why they started talking about it now. We don't want another Dockside Distortionist / Jewel Lotus situation where they slashed it overnight and everyone was like trying to sell as much as they could. So I can see why they started talking about it now. But I'm interested. I know, Bear, you're way more into cEDH. Very interested to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because this is a conversation that happens at least twice a year about Ristic Study. The way I see it is it's what we call a stacks piece in Magic. And for those that may not know about stacks pieces, the name stacks comes from a card, very old card called smoking stack.
Smokestack.
Smokestack.
Mm-hmm.
A very oppressive card that if you played it, it was pretty much like it was going to be a very negative experience for the other players. So stacks piece is what it's called, and it's anything that is not allowing you to play the game at the speed that you would normally have to play it or would be able to play it, because you either have to pay more or you have to meet certain restrictions, like you can only play one spell per turn or one of these type of spells every turn. So it changes the tempo of the game. So to me, it's nothing like it's just that, and it's just like any other, like Deafening Silence or these are like
Esper Sentinel. I mean, would that be considered a stack?
Yeah, Talia. I mean, but I want to focus on the other ones that make you pay more, like Thalia,
Talia.
Thraben, Guardian of Thraben. I think I forgot the full name.
Guardian of Thraben.
There are so many cards that say spells that players cast cost one more. Nobody bats an eye at those. And the way I see Ristic Study when I'm playing against it is, well, Ristic Study's in play, now I have to pay one more for my spells.
Yeah.
And if everybody saw it that way, then we would not be talking about Ristic Study the way we're talking about it for banning. But the problem is that when we're in the game, since we have the option to not pay extra and instead give another player a card, then it becomes more our fault whether or not the other player, the Ristic Study player, is getting a card. And I'm comparing it now to what the topic of the secret layers. We don't want wizards to push so many secret layers so often, but we're still buying it. We are feeding into the secret layer, and it's the same for us. We're feeding the Ristic Study players because we decided we don't want anyone extra. You go ahead and get your card, and it's on us. I think it's a player's mentality, and if we read the card differently, we would not be talking about Ristic Study for banning.
Bear is swinging, man. Goodness gracious. Well said. Yeah.
Well said. Well said. It's it's interesting because whenever I look at stacks pieces, I look at it as okay. I need to change my game plan. I need to be able to get work around it. Like you said, okay, now my card. Now I need more mana. Or you know what? What's the biggest issue? Well, let me rephrase. What is the biggest benefit for a cEDH player? Right? You need to draw. You need to draw your card, your pieces. You need to get to your combo. You need to get to your set pieces as fast as possible. Am I wrong, or am I on the same
No,
wavelength? Okay,
that's
so
the mentality. Yes.
that's the mentality. I need to
Absolutely.
get to my win ASAP. There is no time to be cute, right? This is what we're here to do. So for me, whenever I run into a deck like that, I have to look at it and go like, damn, okay. Ahora aquí, como dice, tocarse los huevos and figure it out. Because I'm like, okay, like let's make something happen here. Like I gotta either attack that thing or attack their game plan. Because you're going against somebody or the table is set up to where, hey, any one of these seats is gonna pop off if they get any type of advantage, be it fast mana, be it card draw, especially card draw. That's the thing. Your tutors and your card draw, from what I understand, to get to that. Because I don't play as a high level as Bears has played. I dabble and I try and I've been beaten to death and I come right back on ganas, right? Because I wanna learn that format. But when it comes to a
Yeah.
casual game, llegamos a lo que dijimos otra vez con el Duque, right? It's that reputation because the
Exactly.
card has been villainized so much. So the community comes behind it and everybody immediately freaks out. And that person now becomes the target. That item becomes the talk of the table. And then you start forgetting that there's a game going on. An ejemplo, right? Let's say I have my pieces in my hand, but as soon as you play that or Esper Sentinel and I start freaking out, I lose track of my combo because I'm worried about you so much, right? So because I'm worried about the guy across from me, I'm forgetting that I have my game to play. So I feel that when these type of cards, these stacks cards, or these cards that have this reputation behind them, and como dices tú, like we have the secret lair conversation. It's that hype, that FOMO, because new players, new-ish players, like Tap was saying, maybe not jumping into Commander, but most new players jump into Commander. They just get told, oh, these are the most popular cards in these colors. These are some of the cards you should be aware of. And so when these things get so hyped, they get that FOMO, they get this villainization of it, it gets to this epic conversation of this thing is the worst thing on the table. What do you guys think?
I don't know, Tap. I'm interested in your opinion since you mentioned that you like the card. So what have you heard from friends and people that you play Commander with or Standard? What is your opinion? Is it really villainized? Have you heard that kind of comments around?
Yeah, I think you guys said it very well because I mean, Primo Fredie said it here. He's like, hey, I'm not playing at high competitive tables. So at the lower end tables, when I'm playing, I'm trying to play bracket 3 here. I'm trying to play bracket 4. Bracket 4, maybe it's a little more expected, but 2 and 3, it's like something that powerful. You're not used to seeing it. You don't interact with it very much. There's not game changers there in those decks. When that's played, man, there's going to be a difference in power. And just being realistic, like for you, Bear, when your cEDH decks, bro, you got removal in there. Like you're prepped, you're stacked to the teeth, you're ready for whatever's going to hit the table that's going to stop you. You are going to take care of it because that is the mindset of cEDH. I have cut all the fat. I got my win cons and I got my removal, and everything else is cut. For the people that are playing a little more casually, they're not they're not stacked to the teeth with removal. They don't have just their win cons. They have cards in there that there's a lot of fat in their deck. And because of that, when there's something on the field that they need to take off the table and they don't have any preparation for that, it's going to feel like it is absolutely oppressive because it's just sitting there. There's nothing they can do. That lead is going there. So I think that's the big differentiation I see. The more I talk to cEDH players, the more they're like, well, we know what it does. You know how to interact with it. I have interaction ready for it. It's not that big of a deal. It's a game changer, which is why it's for high powered tables. When I talk to people who are a little more casual, they're like, that card's busted. That I don't want to see that. And so I think there's that big split mentality there.
Well, I mean, so like here's my thing. If this is reality of it, because I did some research on it. So not research. I googled. Is googling researching nowadays? I don't know. We'll see. But point is, mira, yo veo que mucha gente nomás se preocupa de una de dos cosas. One or two things. Is this card gonna? Is this 1 of 99 going to make my deck over the edge? Oftentimes it's not, right? Because having that one card in there isn't gonna change the deck dramatically. I think at the level I'm playing, because Bear can have a different opinion, but and you guys tell me. But 1 out of 99 is not going to change the deck dramatically. Yes, if you fine tune it, if you've built that thing to the point where you're like, this is the piece that I need to make it pop because I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna use it to do this. Like if it's one of the ladders to build up to your combo and you can get to it, cool. But oftentimes it's not gonna make or break your deck. It's one card. Okay, leave that alone. And number two, the money of it. Because you look at bannings, they can impact value. And we're not a money show. We're not about the value of the cards. I'm about the game and the game itself, right? But that is these conversations, because then, sadly, the card game has become the card game. You know, it's just collecting. It's just money. Bans and unbans tend to fluctuate the market, meaning that if you sat on all these heuristic studies, you know, now it's time to sell them before they get banned. People are moving money around. It's conversations, you know, so it just depends. So now we want to, bring this up with, if heuristic study gets banned, you know, there's other alternatives here. You know, I don't think that it's like the one on and be all. You know, one thing that people ignore, and I bring it up a lot, and like I don't know why. Barry, you tell me. You know, why nobody is freaking out? They're freaking out about this heuristic study, right? They're freaking out about it. We're all there, but no one. I'm going to share the screen. No one is concerned. It says anything about Mystic Remora. I'm not hearing cries in the sky about Mystic Remora being broken. I'm not hearing people freak out about Mystic Remora being, oh, this thing's it's ruining the game. It's no more fun. Is it because of the cumulative upkeep, just that echo cost, that's causing them to be like, hey, I'm not so worried about it? Or why not? Because I can play Remora and I can remove those fucking echo counters, no problem, and have this on the table as an annoying thing. And look at the cost for one cost. So tell me your thoughts.
The key thing, there's two things with the Mr. Mora that is, it makes it more balanced than heuristic study, and one is the cumulative upkeep. We know that at some point the Remora is going to leave. There are very rare occasions, at least in cEDH, where a Mystic Remora stays beyond turn 4 or 5. And the other one is that it's only for non-creature spells, which it's easy to get around, especially in cEDH, because beta is changing, but for the most part, most cEDH decks can go about 1 or 2 turns without playing artifacts or enchantments or anything else, just to make sure that the player that has the Mystic Remora in play does not get to draw. The other thing is that Remora in cEDH games is normally played to try to get to that either second land that you don't have in hand. And so if you starve we call it starve the fish, it's more likely that the player that has it won't be able to play on time or on tempo their deck. So I think those are the main reasons why people don't cry too much about Mystic Remora. We don't love it either. I mean, well, I do, but I know players don't love it either because they have to play around it. But it's easier because at some point it has a limited time to stay there. Heuristic study, you either counter it or find removal, but if it lands, it stays. People can find ways to get around it, and at some point it's gonna leave the battlefield. It's not gonna be there forever, unless it's you, Freddy, that just want to remove all the time counters on it. So that's gonna be a one-off. I've never seen that happen. So, but yeah.
Just wait. So if it's scholars one day, I'm gonna do it. Watch. I'm gonna do it one day. Watch.
Come on. Let's see that happening. But yeah, the one thing I wanted to go back to, and something you mentioned already, Fred, is heuristic study can be gone, and there's plenty of resources for players to get card draw in a game. It's not the only one. It's very effective, mainly because it costs 3. Most of the other card draw permanence will cost 4 or more. But in the end, we have the One Ring, we have traveling pairs, we have many other things that we can get use. And the truth is that even though Ristic Study is prominent because it helps you win games, I don't know. There was a guy I admire, Mons from cEDH TV. He's keeping data from watching YouTube videos of cEDH games, and he found that honestly, Ristic Study helps you win games, yes, but the amount of times that Ristic Study is in play in games is not as high as people think. It's not every single cEDH game. So we need to keep that in consideration when talking about that. But yeah, that was the thought I was having as we were ramping this up.
Gotcha. Gotcha. You know, the other conversations that have been happening, and Ristic Study is kind of just one of those polarizing cards because of its reputation. Like, if you see it in enough high end decks, though, to be fair, if you see it in enough of those decks, a lot of players want to mimic that, to an extent. Like any other, like, soccer player, football player, they want to mimic some of those things, some of those traits, some of those practices, right? In most games, in most decks, that's why we have standard, for example, you kind of go back to that conversation. You kind of touch on those decks that are winning, that are working. What's the conversation in, like, for example, arena? I play it enough to where people go, if all I want to do is go up the ladder, I'm gonna run that deck. Simple. Like, that's it. That's the conversation. Like, if all I want to do is run up that ladder and not be cute, I'm gonna just run those decks, right? But I like to be cute. I want to be weird, so I run a Gruul Landfall deck in standard that doesn't win 40% of the time. But you know what? And that's fine, and that's me, right? But when it comes to Commander, um, the biggest hurdle that I kind of get over with is, again, I think there should be no bans. I think there should just be run whatever you want to run. If your table has its own rule zero, great. If you have your own rules, great. Me and Bear were having a talk offline about, we have our own leagues. Great. Run your own rules. Do you? Again, it's a casual format, right? That's the thing. It's not like this necessarily something like that. But if you were to be competitive, right? There was official tournaments that they do happen, right? We want to abide by those and work within the confines. But one of the things that I've been hearing too as well, not just Ristic Study, unbanning of cards. That the time has come to remove things off of the ban list. So just to kind of, and there's a substantial list, when it comes to Commander. We know the Moxes, things like that. Like Morocco, I have Torn, uh, but they want to bring stuff off of it, like Jeweled Lotus to bring it back. Say, hey, bring back Jeweled Lotus. Some people say they want to add the ring to the ban list. Like, just kind of like, again, just hating on these big cards, but also bringing them back, like Primeval Titan. They want to just bring these things back into the format. Um, Tap, what do you think, regarding removing things off of the commander's ban list? I could put the image here on screens in case the viewers and the showing my age, man. I used to have a zine. Okay, that's how old school I was. I used to run a zine back in the day, and physical paper touch hands. But here we are off of wargamer.com. Here is the commander ban list. It says for recall, balance, biorhythm. You know, of the ones that you know of, what do you think should just come off the list? It's not necessary, to stay on here.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation, and something I actually do want to hear, especially from Bear as a CDH player, because I think that the fact that we have this uh, the different bracket system right now really does bring that conversation of do we need a ban list back into play? Because if we have an efficient bracket system where, hey, these are game changers are going to be played at 4 and 5, so you shouldn't expect to see those at lower level play. Well, then it's like, okay, then at casual tables, we shouldn't even have to worry about these things if they're an issue, unless, of course, like you mentioned, at our home, at our table, everything goes, then that's its own thing. But if we have a bracket system in place and all of these were game changers, then I wonder what the higher tier community would feel, because they're really the only ones that would be affected. Because if they're all game changers, bracket 1, 2, and 3, they're barely going to see them. Bracket 4 and 5, they're the people that it affects the most. From that perspective, I do wonder what what the effect would be there. Because again, you were seeing your Dark Side Extortionist plays a lot in cEDH. You know, you were seeing, I mean, things like with the, I mean, it's a Jewel Lotus, right? 0 coming and giving you 3 mana. That on a turn 1 with other fast mana is just going to absolutely give someone a hardcore lead. So I am actually really interested, Bear, since it would, if these were made legal, if they were pulled off the list and they were just game changers, how would that, do you think, affect the whole cEDH metagame? I think that's who it affects you the most, man. I'm sitting pretty. I'll sit with my precons and my tier 3 decks, and I'll be, dude, y'all go play, have war crimes over there. I'll be fine over here. But I mean, how would it affect it?
Totally. I think there are three fronts where impact may happen. It's I would call them money, attitude, and expectations. The first one is money because there are a lot of reserved list cards in the ban list, like all the Moxes, Lotus, Black Lotus, things that players would love to be able to play with them. However, players that are not pro proxy cards may immediately feel left out of the game because those are cards that are on the thousands of dollars, and people just don't want to even get near to those. And if there are some players playing them, proxy or not, and some others that aren't, then the experience it just changes entirely. You cannot bring a very optimized, high-powered deck from today versus a no-ban list cEDH deck. There's just no parity in terms of how you can use and abuse the resources. And the other one is attitude or mindset. We are humans, and I mean, whether we like it or not, we flaw in one thing most of the time, which is we don't know what to do with our freedom. And if they give us a freedom to play whatever card we want, there will be players abusing that and then pub stomping every game they get into. And then again, the experience of players is just going to be diminished, and less players will be there to play cEDH or Commander for that matter, except for brackets 1 and 2 maybe. And finally, I think expectations. I think Wizards of the Coast does not want to alienate players because they don't have access to the ban list cards, and they also want to keep pushing product. So the ban list is a good framework for players and for business because they can play around that framework to keep pushing product for new players and draw them into Commander. So I think that would be, in my mind, the three main fronts for removing the ban list.
There, man, you're bringing in that knowledge. You're right. You know, Tap's right. Like Tap's like on the casual side, like that's who we're playing. We're playing bracket 2, 3, and 1 and 2. Then it wouldn't matter because you're not supposed to see these. And if you do run across one, like I said, it's 1 of 99. So it's like, okay, cool, whatever, right? But we are playing those higher tiers, 4 and 5. You know, there's a conversation too that we had for talking about hybrid mana. You know how hybrid mana is a conversation too about being allowed back in there. Is instead of being an and, it should be an or. You know, but like you said, Bear, like you don't know what you can do with that freedom, right? Like you're gonna go like, whoa, like what's going on? So it's like in this scenario, the conversations have been brackets 4 and 5 should have their own specific banning, which is kind of what we have on the game changers list in a way. I think it's like a Wizards is kind of like just putting a different set of clothes on it, you know, of like a ban list, calling it a game changer or, you know, calling it these type of cards. But like I heard someone say they should call it game breakers. You know, they should add another category to it, like just completely trash it, and can be specifically for tiers 4 and 5, and then the ones in below wouldn't even mess with hybrid mana. They wouldn't even touch that stuff at all. Like, hey, the rule is this. The rule is and, you know, and or, you know, it's not going to be, you know, that's what it should be. And then the higher tiers, if they can play in that pool, go have at, like you said, like Tap said, like, hey man, go do your World War III over there at those tables. But it's interesting, you know, bannings are interesting because at the end of the day, guys, remember, we're having a conversation about cardboard. We're talking about cardboard that we love,
So
and it's so crazy that we're here, like you said, financially. $1,000 guy's cradle, that's conversations about getting that banned, and then we're talking about biorhythm. I want biorhythm off the ban table. Like, there's so many ways to wipe a field, tap the freaking biorhythm, I win the game. You know what I mean? Like,
True,
that's cEDH in
true
a
that.
nutshell, right? I mean,
Exactly.
it,
Yeah, and
it it's
let's
fun.
not forget about the other one card that they talked about, which is Thassa's Oracle, which is also like top of mind for most cEDH players. And I think for the most part, on that one in particular, I think most cEDH players agree because it's a very niche card, only used for winning. There's no other use for that card other than comboing off and try to
Yeah,
win.
absolutely.
So I think
Agreed.
pretty much everybody agrees, and I think that might be the most likely to happen. But then again, it's the one card for that one particular combo that everybody knows and should be ready for. And if you're not, and you're listening to that, you should be okay with that because you were not ready for it. That's my point of view.
You
What
know
about
what?
you?
Absolutely.
Uh, I think I'm with you, right, Tap? I mean, Tasso's Oracle is that one. To be fair, it almost feels like it takes up space.
You think?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
man, I'm in the same boat with like food chain. Like I have a table here in the city I live in where the play group, they play a lot. They are playing too much Magic. I don't know how they're paying their bills. And I had a food chain combo in my deck. It's a Roxanne Starfall Savant deck, and it's a really fun deck. Hits really hard. I have the one food chain in there. That's my one infinite combo. It went off, and they were looking at me like I just ran over their dog or something. I'm like, guys, I told you there's one infinite combo. I have one food chain. I told you what it was. There's no protection. You could have removed it whenever you wanted. I told you what was happening, and they
Yeah,
were still surprised. And it just comes down to that knowledge, knowing the table level. They had said that for me to use my higher level deck, so I did. They just weren't familiar with it, and it comes down to now they know. Now they know if I'm playing that deck, they know food chain's there. They know to be prepared for it. So there is that knowledge factor. But yeah, I do think there's just two big different conversations happening. That's why I always feel that cEDH should not even. I mean, it's like it's not even Magic. It's a separate game. Like there should be there's like bracket 1 through 5, and then there's cEDH. It's because it is, again, it's World War III. They're playing all out, very smart, very competitive, and I admire solo cEDH players because they are about it. But it's a very different game, and you have to have those different expectations. Otherwise, you think you're in the kiddie pool, but you're gonna get ripped apart by sharks, man.
I mean,
But
like
it's
rules
fun.
said,
But
pretty
it's
right?
much.
fun.
Bear,
Yeah.
Bear mentioned it last time when we spoke with Duque. Is like the rules matter. That's that conversation I've heard online. People say like, what cEDH is one on the stack. Like, you need to know the rules of
Yeah.
Magic to really play in that level and understand what you can and can't do. Like, I'll sit there and watch a video over and over and over again explaining to me some interaction because I'm like, hold on, how, make me understand, and
Yeah,
that's what makes it really cool when, like, if Bear is in those rooms, has mesas pesadas, como dicen, right? Like, when you're in those tables and everybody at that table knows what they're doing, like, it's like watching kung fu. You're like, oh shit, like, whoa, foom, like, foom, foom, like, whoa, like, there's so much going on, and that's what makes it exciting because I think that everyone, is striving to get to some level of that when they're in that game. Yes,
Yeah.
we want gathering, we want friends, we want to have cool stuff happen, but at the same time, everybody wants to feel like, hey, like, you know what? I was able to pull off this cool combo and did this. Everybody wants that. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
true.
No one's gonna show up and say, "Hey, I really want to lose today." No one does. No one does. They all want to try to win.
Yeah,
That's a
I
strong point,
think I
man.
think in the end, tap on one thing, which is knowledge. And if people don't know how something works, they normally the initial reaction is rejection, right? Like, oh man, I didn't like you winning me like that because I didn't know how it worked. And it's a natural reaction for humans to just reject something that makes you feel bad. But then how you respond to that is the key, and that's what I see differentiates people that don't like cEDH and people who want to learn cEDH is that I want to know how that works. I want to learn how that stack resolved because I don't really understand it and I want to learn. Or, man, I don't really like that. It's too much for me. I just want to play my my dorks and my creatures and try to attack and win. And that's totally valid. And it's just the difference in how you want to approach Magic as a game.
Definitely, definitely. Well, you know what? Sadly, we've reached the end of our show, Primos. You know, we could talk hours and hours and hours on this stuff because we are. Don't worry, there'll be another magical hour here with us and the Primos and everybody chatting. You know, we want to make sure that you please, 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 first and foremost, follow Tap. You know, Tap. I'm giving you another moment here so people can follow you. Please tell us your channels. That way they can find you on your socials and just give us a quick little pitch so Primos can know what you're about and what your channels are about.
Absolutely. Well, it's Tap for Me MTG. It's all about just making Magic more accessible for everyone. We all know we see people on whether it's TikTok or YouTube opening up thousands of dollars of product that some of us will never get to see, never get to open. The whole reason I started the channel is because I wanted to use as much money from the channel as I could to give back to the community. So every time a new set comes out, I give away collector packs. We make videos about cEDH, helping people understand more, compare commanders, tell you why a cEDH commander is cEDH worthy, how it could work in that area. We also just do fun deck techs. A lot of people send me videos or ideas on the Discord. We make the videos about that. It's just about making it easier for everyone. You should be able to approach something like Magic and feel safe and feel fun. And even if you don't know anything, no one should ever make you feel stupid. And that's what the page is for, just to have people to have fun, feel safe, maybe get a collector pack while you're at it, and just enjoy yourself.
Awesome, awesome. Follow Tap for Me MTG. Definitely something. And I'm sure we'll have you back on the show. Bear, where can the Primos support you, follow you, and kind of maybe get that league going a little stronger? You know, you never know. Where can the Primos apoyarte?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's right there on the screen. Go to bearclaimer.com. You can find all my socials. You can sign up to be on my Discord. You can sign up to play with me on stream and get in touch with me. I'm very, very interested in people's point of view on different aspects of the game, from how you see standard, whether or not you're interested in cEDH or not. I want to get to know people because I think the more people get into the game, the more variance we'll get, and just grow together as Magic players. And yeah, absolutely. We were talking about League, and I'm still rounding up how I want to implement that. I want to implement a League in my server. I want to know about you. I want to give a light and a spot. Better say a spotlight to those players in Latin America that like play and they're great players. So I think a league would be a nice way of doing so, and then maybe streaming some of those games. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, but I wanna make that happen.
Yeah.
No importa. No.
I won't play. I'm not gonna play with you, Bear. I don't want you to just beat me up all day. So I'll stay away from you.
No, that's the point. I like that though. Like, I'm not even afraid of like losing. I'm just more so like, let me make the freaking time. Like, let me figure out how to make it happen. Because I'll lose all day because I'll learn something from it, Primos. And that's the thing. I always say, right? Like, no tengan miedo, láncense. Like, make it happen. Like, get out there. Like, go to your local card shop. Avoid the assholes. We talked about it on the last episode with Bones. Avoid the assholes. Find a group. 80% of the people at the car shop are 90% willing to come in. Hey, sit down, have a game. Sure, we'll show you. Not everybody's an asshole. I promise, they're not. Especially if you're new to Magic, there's plenty of resources out there. We want to be one of them. So please follow Bear, follow Tap, and follow my Primos Productions, of course. Puro Pinche Magic. We want to try to bring you some fun videos, conversations, right? And we will do deck techs. We will do some streaming. We'll do some games. You know, I know everybody's interested in that. I've been approached by some people asking, hey, when are you guys going to actually play some games? Are you going to stream anything? Yeah, we are. We're planning it. We're working on it again. Es que a veces no hay tiempo en el día, you know? But, you know, I want to thank everybody for watching, for listening. And like I always say, pinche is such a special word. It can make you angry. It can make you laugh. But if you use it the right way, pinche can be magic. Hasta la próxima, primos. Nos vemos. Cuídense.